When I was a kid, I tried to skate, and I was terrible.
This is Auto Collabs.
Like roller skate in the skating rink? Like
No.
couple skate?
Like, no. Goodness, are you serious? I was an all-pro four-wheel skater. But no, when we're talking about
Tight pants and all.
had them rolled up, triple rolled, doing 90s like it was my job,
Tube
right?
socks.
No, so our next guest, probably one of the first ways that I was introduced to him is that he owned a skate shop. We're talking like board skates in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Called a skateboard.
Yeah, a skateboard. Board
skate
skates, skateboard. Hey, this is how much I know about skateboarding.
Wood
all right?
with wheels.
I tried it one time, fell on my rear, and I was done, right?
That's it.
But that's like the first way I get introduced to Jeff Revilla. The second way is he shared a video with a group of my friends that was him in his skate shop creating content. And at the end of the video, he takes all of the skate stuff in front of him and throws it at his producer. Because of that one thing, this video goes on to get hundreds of thousands of views.
Really?
And thus starts the story of Jeff Revilla, the consummate content creator.
Oh my goodness. Like, how long ago was that?
It was probably like late 2000s, early 2010, somewhere in there.
I
don't
didn't
know
know
when the video.
you've known about
No,
him.
I haven't known him. I just got shared that video.
Oh,
like
that was
just
the
a couple
video.
years ago. Yeah,
So you're saying he's been doing this for a while?
he's been doing it a hot minute.
Man,
yeah.
he's one of the people that I can't. Is he coming to a SotoCon?
He absolutely is.
I cannot wait to meet him.
Yeah, he's coming to a SotoCon. He's going to be he's a part of the Auto Genius community, so he's going to be in that dealers pitching vendors, pitch tank type of arena. And it's really interesting because you look across marketers in our industry and you see these super analytical, highly dedicated process people, especially in a director role, but so many of them come from this creative ecosystem, and that's what really makes them great, because they're not just great creators, but that allows them to be creative in the way that they create processes or engage their community, and he's someone that's done that really, really well.
Good night, Michael. Have you ever skateboarded?
I was not allowed, so I would borrow my friends' skateboards. And now that I think about it, why wasn't I allowed? We didn't have to like pay for hospital visits. This is the dumbest.
Yeah.
Now I'm enraged. But I used to
go call my
sneak
dad
into the backyard and just practice doing kick flips on the grass. It's like it still got me skating, but like not visible. But I'm sure my mom was just like peering through the blinds, being like, "My son's
shaking her head."
Yeah, no. But you know what I was going to say, I really hope we get to kind of dig into this with Jeff. Content creating for that long, methinks there must be something to it. And here we are in 2022 still trying to convince the people about the power of content creation. So I hope that everybody enjoys this conversation with Jeff Revilla.
All right, Jeff Revilla, the man, the myth, the legend. Probably, honestly, I think, Jeff, you may hold the like place in my heart and actually own the trophy for the greatest GIF/meme creator in automotive. Are you okay with that statement?
I mean, I'll accept it. I did notice on for the conference, everybody else got an automotive credit. They're like, director of this and invented this, and then my only credit for the conference was smoothest voice in podcasting, which I was like, nothing I do ever gets an automotive credit, but I do stuff.
That's great. No, yeah. So Jeff Revilla is your technical title director of marketing at Smail. Is that right?
I like to say digital marketing director.
Digital marketing. Yeah, I like it. Okay,
fancy.
Cool, awesome. It's fancy like that.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, tell me a little bit, because your history is not in automotive. You've touched a lot of marketing ecosystems. So give us a little bit of history about like where you were pre-automotive and then how that's led you into the automotive space for probably a lot of our listening audience that doesn't know.
Yeah, the only thing I have in common the last 20 years is I've only worked in industries that have four wheels. Before automotive, I had a skateboard shop. I did skateboard manufacturing. I had a skateboard park. I did that for about 8 years. And I bought this old building from a guy, and I didn't know anything. I was like 25, and my dad's like, "Go tell this guy you'll give him $3,000 for a building." And I'm like, "Is you sure?" He's like, my dad's like, "Yeah, do it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I get a meeting with this guy to open up my skate shop. I say, "Hey, I'm gonna buy this building from you. I'm gonna give you $3,000." He throws me out of his restaurant. We met at a restaurant, and he calls me back and says, I can't do 3,000, but I'll do it for 11. So I bought my first building I bought for $11,000. It was like 8,000 square feet. it was in a very rundown area, but had good guts. They say good roof, good guts.
Yeah.
And that was like 2001. I started a skateboard shop. I did mail order, retail, all over the place. Early on e-commerce. And it kind of went from there. It kind of kept growing and growing. The wheels got bigger and bigger, I guess, and more expensive as my career went on.
So how did those four wheels of a skateboard turn you into an automotive marketer? Like, what was the, how did that transition happen?
I mean, you know me too. I'm a little rough around the edges. I do have that skateboarding punk rock mentality where everything's kind of malleable. Rules aren't really rules. We can make things work. But I didn't even know I was a marketer. Like I was just running a skateboard shop, but I'm buying AdWords and 2002, 2003. Overture was a big paid search with Yahoo. They were doing the Yahoo search at that time. And, I'm optimizing pages. I'm building catalogs and I'm doing all this stuff. And after I closed my shop, people started asking me like, how do you do a website? Or, what's MySpace or Friendster, things like that. And I kind of explain like, how you register a domain name. And I'm answering all these questions all over the place. And
I was just trying to sell some skateboards over here.
Yeah. But I developed this set of skills that I didn't even know it was more valuable than my college education. And I just kept building on it. And I do consulting. I get some side gigs and I tell people these crazy numbers and they would pay it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing all right.
I love it. So maybe walk me through like where, because obviously coming from like buying AdWords and buying ads on Overture back in the early 2000s to like what you're doing now from a digital marketing perspective, there's been a lot of transition that you've seen and gone through. But I guess maybe what's the through line to things that have stayed consistent, to things that you have always needed to make sure, like, if you do these things, or if I've done these things, they stay consistent, though the mediums or the resources or anything like that would change.
Yeah. Like the one thing they do have in common is conversions don't really happen online in either industry. With skateboarding, it's mostly 12-year-old boys just clicking on ads and looking at pictures, and they're not buying stuff, right? But you got to get in front of them to get their parents to buy the stuff. And in automotive, people click on stuff, they're looking at pictures, they don't really buy stuff online, right? But they're in a process of 30, 60, 90 days to find that right vehicle. So I've never really been in an industry where, there's conversions obviously in e-commerce, but automotive, the last 10 years, you don't buy a car online, especially in Pennsylvania, you can't even do that. But, how do you serve that audience? How do you create stuff that gets in front of them, right? That's kind of, I'm sure it's what we'll get into with some of the video stuff that we've been doing. And how do you maintain time on site? How do you get people back? How do you increase your presence in the search engines? And, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of ways to do it. One way that we've been doing has been pretty successful.
Yeah. So talk about that, because I think when people hear marketer a lot, they think about like, is that person doing a good job managing my paid search and my social ads and my website? But you've taken a much broader approach to that, especially being like a digital marketing director or manager, right? That the ecosystem is a lot wider, and specifically with video and content. So tell us a little about like how you see that broad ecosystem playing really well together, and then maybe give some insight on exactly what you've done with like your YouTube and video and content strategy.
Yeah, it's not just conversions, because we know, you hear the story, 60% of people walk into the dealership never made contact with the dealer, right? So, I can get some sort of data from 40%, but 60% you can't, right? And that's still the majority. So how do you keep those people engaged? How do you make sure that you're top of mind when it does come time to make that choice, who they're going to buy from? And we, about I think I brought in a videographer maybe 2014, 2015, and we did what every dealer out there does. Look at us, we're great. We got these great cars. We got these great deals. Us. It's all about us, right? And we kind of started with like, look at these cars that we have. And around that time, we're like, well, that's just, you see an automotive dealer YouTube channels, right? They get 3 views, 20 views. Right. Some of the good dealers, they get 50 views, right? We kind of pivoted. We're like, we're Smail Auto Group. We're Smail the brand. We have 10 franchises. What if we took some sort of concept, like a structured television concept of a series, like, and we looked at 3 different ways to create video. One was what we thought was an unboxing video. Kind of, you always see people unbox a new cell phone. You hear them take off the cellophane and pull the box. You hear that suction of the air. And we're like, well, what if we did that for cars? And what if we did it with somebody who wasn't really a car person? We call that first look. That's the first drive or first look. And that's just somebody going through all the things that a normal person would push and pull and press and recline and open and close, not even talking about horsepower, miles per gallon. We don't even care about that. What do you do every day in a car? So we shifted from who are we as a dealer to what the people use a vehicle for. And then we
do you use people internally for that, or are you like finding customers or friends or things like that to do that?
Internally, all internally.
Okay.
We don't. We have different series, and that one's done by people in the marketing department. So they're not salespeople. They're not trying to sell you a car. They're just trying to use the car in the way that you would. And we live in the mountains of Pennsylvania, so we have these great back roads. So we do another with a ride along where you sit in the back seat while the salesperson's taking you on a drive through the hills of Greensburg. And when we changed these 2 things, so now you see the car performing, right, up and down and around the bends, and you hear the acceleration, you see the radius of a U-turn. We do backing in using the camera. And when we change from this is us, like we are awesome, we're buy us Greensburg car sales, to this is how you use a vehicle. There's the first time I saw hockey stick growth. Like we went from 50 views a day, we get about 400, 500,000 views a month on our videos now, month after month, and it grows slightly, here and there. But that change from, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do.
Did you say 400,000 to 500,000 views a month across the group?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah. So break that down. So you got 400,000 to 500,000 views, and obviously this is like you started this back 7-8 years ago, something like that. Now Correct. At this point, where you've kind of created this, so 400,000 to 500,000 views a month. You've got how many videos would you say you're producing on a monthly basis now, as this kind of like content feed grows? Pretty consistently, with including like reels and TikToks and vertical video, we're in the 25, 30 videos a month. So I know we kind of one time it was over 300 or 3,000 videos before. We're probably at 3,500 videos easily over those 7 years. And I have a tremendous photographer, and part of also what we haven't talked about was I am process driven, and we have structure. Like as loose as I am, and you know how loose I am, and the nonsense that I bring to Auto Genius, but that nonsense also creates structure that empowers and enables my team to just produce. I'm not a guy that hovers. I don't say this needs done, this needs done. They know what needs done. They have a great time doing it, and we publish. And when we saw that growth too, now let's be honest too, 400,000 to 500,000 views isn't Western Pennsylvania. That's not Greensburg people looking at our videos. It may be 10% are Pennsylvania, maybe 5% of that are even Western Pennsylvania. So, we're talking, 30 to 40,000 are probably local to us out of that whole batch. But what we realize is we didn't care, because when you look at our video SEO, when you look at referrals we don't just get YouTube referrals, which we can talk about, you're either dead or you're not if you're not getting recommended. But you start to see we get 5-10% of those views from search engine or from other places. It's not our blog, right? Nobody goes to auto dealer blogs on purpose.
But it's
they just trip into them every once in a while. I get here.
Yeah, that's what my joke is. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "I wonder what my local car dealer did on their blog overnight."
Right.
Yeah, nobody cares. But when someone looks for, who is the most relevant Honda dealer in my area, who's the most relevant Acura dealer? Well, this content that's getting seen globally gives you that hyper focus locally, where you'll see, you might search for a model, you might see a couple ads, you might see your organic listing, which is even better, but then you'll see that video pack. And we show up in that video pack so often for so many searches that that's where the investment is. And and you can, because we've been doing it for so long, all of our stores have qualified for the ads program. So now we start thinking, well, and Google made some changes early in the year, whether or not you're in the ads program or not, they're going to run ads. You can't opt out anymore, right? So we're like, well, if we can't opt out and they're going to make money on us, and 90% of our views are all around the world, well, let's take a little of that scratch, right? Let's take I want a little taste. Give me a little taste of that, Google. So we've opted in, and now we monetize, or we kind of do this donut strategy, right? We care about our backyard, but we also don't care about outside of our backyard. So if somebody watches our video in California or Nevada, they get use out of it. Great. You know what? I get ad revenue out of it. So now I'm taking these views from globally and funneling that into, a nice little chunk of change every month we get deposited into our account that I can use for new equipment. I can use to compensate.
Yeah, so you're using that for like putting it back into the marketing team.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to conferences. We're upgrading our equipment. We're comping, salespeople with gift cards, so wherever they want. We're spending that and really just building the program bigger and bigger. Now you see that scale, not Mr. Beast level scale, but we're doing all right.
No, that's really cool. You said something as you were going there that I think is a really interesting kind of concept that I think as marketers, it's all been about SEO, and everybody, it's like you got to show up for near me searches, right? Everybody's searching near me, and whether or not it's actually like a near me search, it's a location based search. Yeah. And it's all about just accessibility or availability. But you said something that really caught my ear, and I think this is something that marketers and content creators and even dealers maybe can be thinking about, and maybe you can add some context because I'm sure you thought about it. But you said relevant near me. That there's actually an importance to having some level of relevance, and there's like social proof and video proof and all of the things that say like, no, this person has relevance and authority, not just accessibility. Yeah, I'm guessing you've thought about that a little bit.
I have some theories. Right? Yeah, I mean, locally, by far, your number one best bet is your Google business profile. Hands down, 100% optimize that. That'll crush locally, phenomenal. But when you start to get outside of those searches, that starts as you get away from make geo a little bit. That relevance of Google business profile fades a little. But when I'm a Honda dealer and somebody's searching locally, my idea is that I'm probably the most relevant Honda dealer in Western Pennsylvania. No one's producing content at the scale that we are getting. We just had I think it was the 2023 HRV video, 100,000 views in the last 6 weeks. Like wow. No one's going to outbeat me on 100,000 organic HRV views in Western Pennsylvania. So when people start searching for, I need an HRV in Western Pennsylvania, I'm going to be there in that video pack. I am the most relevant Honda dealer in Western Pennsylvania. I've got to win that search, right?
Wow. Yeah. Well, and not just that, but like when you think about search engines today, there are 3 top search engines. Top is Google. Second is not Bing. It's YouTube. Third is also not Bing. It's TikTok. Yeah. Right? So like when you talk about this content, you're literally feeding all of the search engines that someone could possibly be trying to find relevancy in a local area. It's huge. And I like to be able to put money back into almost like an R&D fund for your team is literally like saying these people matter, whether it be the salespeople or the marketing people, that these people matter, and our content can actually provide me resources as a marketing director to enable them to do even more with their time or their resources.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's the Red Bull model, right? How many of us before we really watched live streaming? We watched, it was a Felix Baumgartner jump from space, right? It was a Saturday afternoon. We're all at home. Everybody's blowing up watching Felix, and it was like the value that Red Bull got from that. It was like 2010, I think, from the world watching Felix jump from space. That value of that ad revenue, or not revenue at the time, but the earned media of Red Bull for just doing that was kind of the concept we had in 2014. Like, let's just do what Red Bull does. Let's be an in-house media company, and people will have to focus on us. Like, there's no other way around it.
So, okay. So you said, are there 3 channels or 3 things that because you've got the unboxing for cars, the ride along. Is there anything else that you've kind of explored at this point that is content that like you're regularly dripping, other than like, the newest, freshest thing?
Yeah, these play a little better on Facebook than they do on YouTube. But we do a series called Cars in the Community, kind of real Mr. Rogers-y. Hey, everybody, we're going to go over to the food bank today. I got this Ford EcoSport. We've loaded up some cans. Let's go see what they need over at the food bank. And that's the only mention of the car right then and there, just up front, real subtle. We show a picture of the car pulling in, and then we go and we interview the food bank. We talk about what they need and everything else. We'll go to the animal shelter, same type of thing, or the local parks having a festival, free fare for everybody. We'll go there and talk to the not the director, but whoever's producing that event. We'll go talk to them, go to the theater, talk to the theater, and it's just us in the community, showcasing the community, not us, but we got to get there somehow. So we do that little Mr. Rogers.
Like, we got to drive there.
We got to get there.
We've got some cars. And so we put a guy in a car, and then he went there, and we shot it.
Hey, we just put a guy in a car. You know what I mean?
We put a guy in a car, and he went to the food bank, Yeah. And we just so happen to have some cameras on hand.
Yeah.
So.
All the time.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's unbelievable. So, what I also appreciate you in the time that I've gotten to know you in this Auto Genius community that's out there, is that you really have a perspective that looks outside of auto. So you've got your history in skateboards, and you're also looking at who Mr. Beast is, who a lot of people, unless they've got kids, they may not know, right? Yeah. And then, even like you've told me, you think about what places can I take my team that are non-auto conferences or events or learning, or what podcasts can I listen to that are outside of the automotive silo that might be able to find some relevance to bring within auto? Where have you found the places that have enabled your marketing team or you to really be more impactful within auto from a learning perspective?
Yeah, my hands down favorite conference is Content Marketing World in Cleveland. I'm literally going to a SotoCon, and I'm driving from Philly back to Cleveland just to go, like a 7-day span of conferences.
Wow.
And that it is a phenomenal community. You're going to meet people from every industry. You're going to get perspective on the types of content they create. Even in travel, you will get ideas on how to make a great automotive video from the travel industry. You'll see corporate like GM or GE, and you'll see agencies from around the world. They kind of diverge on Cleveland, for 2-3 days, and you just see what's possible. It doesn't all relate to automotive, but you see it. You see content in a whole new way, and you will make connections there that you'll take with you. You'll be calling them on the next weekend. Hey, I got this idea. Have you ever done anything like this? Or it's just a great place to meet people, a great place for content. For video, right now, I know they have a virtual ticket. I don't know if you want to go, but it's VidCon. It's Daryl Eves, Mr. Beast. They put on this con. It's $199 for the replays. So I'm not trying to plug other conferences, but
it's perfect, because here's the thing. This is what I notice, and I don't know if you've ever hired someone and this happens, right? But I notice this happens. We get a great graphic designer or a videographer or something like that, and they're coming from outside of automotive, and you get them and you're like, yes, found a great videographer or content creator or something like that. We're bringing them in auto, and all of a sudden, like, they start, and like day 3, they make an auto ad, and everyone knows what that is. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You showed me your portfolio over here.
Yeah.
You stepped in our building, and for some reason you thought like slanted text with a $3.99 and a jelly bean thing was okay, right? Or like they shoot it like the auto commercial that they saw when they were like 13 in their mom's, in their mom's living room. And like, we have to get that somehow out of people, that there's like an auto way to do creative and really expand thinking. And I think that things like that, like people maybe just in auto don't recognize that learning outside of auto, especially for marketers or creatives, is still an important place to go, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Going to see the perspectives of, put the other industries aside. Great. You'll get other perspectives from other industries, but you will see things that aren't done the way that people, I don't want to say experts, people suggest in automotive. Like, it is very line up, do it this way. This is how we do it. This is how we've always done it. You're going to do it this way because that's the way we've always done it. I'm so fortunate to work for a very progressive organization. Even the owners went to the first digital dealer. I don't even know what year it was. Wow. They were there. Like they were one of the, I don't know how many people were, like a couple hundred people were there.
Right.
They were there. So they knew they had websites in 1990 or not, in the 90s. They had the first SmailAuto.com was already out there. So
that's awesome.
They've always been forward thinking, progressive. They keep marketing separate from sales. They understand that, like, I need to have a presence. The outcome is important, but what we do, how we position, how we keep leads funnel into the CR, how do we keep that flowing, right? I'm part of the flow of the system, and they understand all that. And it's great to keep me out of the public, right? Keep me away from the sales. Let me do what I do. And it's really been just a great relationship.
Oh man, that's so cool. I'm glad to hear that you're like, the dealers recognize like that there's value in people like you and the people that you've built around you in building this like whole ecosystem of content and marketing and paid advertising and organic content. And even like you talked about community, Paul and I talk a lot about being the mayor of your town, that you've kind of done that. And so really cool. And I can't wait we're going to have you and Nate Gretlick and Brian Ortega on a stage talking about the way that you do content and exploring some of those ideas. I'm sure there'll probably be like a new idea synthesized between the three of you while on stage, because all of you just think in those imaginative ways. So thanks for spending some time with me today and with us, and can't wait to see you in a few weeks at ASOTUCon.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. It's going to blow up that stage. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Appreciate it.
There's nothing I like more than a practitioner, someone who doesn't just talk about it and doesn't just do it now, but has shown a history of having done it for a long time, which just brings so much more weight to their advice and their strategy, and the fact that it doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight. And when you look at any strategy, especially one that isn't just based on transactions in any industry, it takes time to curate. Smail Auto Group didn't 1 month start to host videos on YouTube and the next month be like, yay, we qualify for monetization.
Yeah.
Right? It took a measured approach over years and years for them to get to that point. But now they get to like go even quicker because they get the ability to push back into their people. And I love the part that he talked about. The way he's pouring back into his people is not just purchasing them more equipment, but he's finding ways for them to learn, and not just learn inside of automotive. He's not just sending them to Digital Dealer or DMSC. He's sending them to like add creative conferences.
VidCon and all those cool ones.
Yeah, he's sending them to VidCon, which is like, that's what our industry needs, is to take from other industries that are creating and doing really innovative stuff and go, oh, yeah, we can do that too. Actually, not just that, we can do it quicker and better because we have the resources and people to do it, and they're executing on that.
I wish this was more commonplace, right? Like there's kind of this divide where it's like, look at all of these schmucks creating content. What do they possibly get out of this? And then there's those on our side of the fence who have been creating content for quite some time, who've been in the creative game for quite some time. I mean, we've even had conversations about this, so it's really kind of refreshing to hear it from Jeff's perspective. It's because those efforts, we're not just going into them being like, hey, you know what, guys, we should do a podcast. Or the equivalent to that on the dealer side being like, you know what we need? We need social media. Well, what are we going to post? Signs that say you should be here.
I want to find an account that has that.
You should be here. Like, what are you doing?
Is that a real example?
Yeah, you know, like when they sold a car and it's like, the caption's like, congratulations, Mr. Smith. And they force him to hold a blank sign and then somebody photoshops. You should be
never
here.
hold a blank
Guys like
sign.
Guys like Jeff, people that are doing content creation, they understand how there's like a hyperloop of demand creation and authority building that breaches the four walls of the dealership. That today it may not necessarily map directly to monetization. However, if we tell our story properly, maybe it's our Google ads that feed into our website, and our website feeds into our social, and our social feeds into video creation. All of that then tells a story about who we are, and it's that thing that opens doors, and the transactions happen on the other side of that door. So that's something that I just really, really impresses me, and being able to get to hear from, like you said, practitioners who are thinking outside of the box. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation with Jeff Revilla. On behalf of myself, Michael Cirillo, Paul Daly, and Kyle Mountseer, this is Auto Collabs. We hope to see you soon.
Welcome to Auto Collabs.
Why are we recording?
Are we rolling yet?